Part 23. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 221. So there are still a lot of bad students with poor athletic ability. That's Yudo in your class, isn't he very strong physically? Oreki-san said. If athletic talent is graded according to the ABCDE standard, Yudo should be able to get an A. There are 5 or 6 people in his class who can get the physical fitness class A. As for Kamuro-san's physical ability, he could probably get an A among girls. After all, that's what she's good at. Yes. In this sports meeting, he hopes to participate in all the events and feels that he can complete the round. It's true, Suda-kun is physically very strong, Kushida said. However, everyone in the class is worried that they will fall into the bottom 10. If you are in the bottom 10, then in the next written test, all subjects will be minus 10 points. No one has confidence. Very scared, Kushida said. But Kushida didn't have this worry. Because her athletic talent is about B, and Horikita Suzun is B+, so she is a relatively strong type. So how could it become the bottom 10? But the students in Class C would be worried about this and would be speechless. Because in the end, the entire school, that is, the 3 grades, out of a total of more than 400 people, chose the bottom 10 for punishment. In other words, they have tacitly accepted that they are among the bottom 10 in the 3 grades. It seems that Class C not only has a lot of bad academics, but also a ridiculous number of people who are bad at sports. But that doesn't matter. In other words, when he saw the exam rules, Oreki-san already had a plan to collect points from Class C. Yet Oreki-san nodded. Then this is why I brought you here. The students in your class don't want to end up in the bottom 10. And this plan, Oreki said. I have. But I need you, Kushida, to collect a list of those classmates who are worried about being among the last dozen, and then collect a total of 4 million points from them. Then I can sell them a plan that won't be in the bottom 10, Oreki said. Kushida. Day. So this time, did the search for her end up giving her such a troublesome and offending job? No, this matter. Kushida has a good relationship with the classmates in the class. But collecting money from them is not a good thing. It will affect friendship. Everyone got 250,000 points in the preferential treatment test. And 4 million only requires 100,000 points from each person, so everyone can still leave 150,000 points. Oreki said. And your class is supported by 800,000 points from my class every month, so now you can still get more than 40,000 yuan in living expenses every month. That's enough. Oreki said. Kushida. Kushida felt that Oreki-san was fooling her. If Kushida doesn't do it, then I will. At this time, Horikita Suzun suddenly spoke. But I want to increase the remuneration to 15%. Kushida. Day. In normal cooperation between Horikita Suzun and Oreki, Horikita Suzun has always been 10%, but here she is 5%. So is Horikita Suzun going to take away all her share now? I have to think about it, Kushida said quickly. The points she continues to have on hand also have a certain amount. And the points owed to her by the students in the class were all recovered. So Kushida can barely break through 1 million points now. However, even though he met Oreki-san when he was enrolled in school, Kushida used the authority of Horikita's friend to see Horikita's student ID card. Horikita Suzun's points have already exceeded 5 million. The biggest reason was that Oreki sometimes didn't call her here when he was making money. So she was worried that if she refused now, Oreki wouldn't take her with her next time. Think so? Kushida-san decided to agree. Then you will follow my plan. Oreki-san said. Because you and I are not in the same group or in the same class, so there are some things that I can't come forward with. Is that so? Or your so-called solution may affect your image, so you are unwilling to pollute your feathers. And thinking like this, Kushida soon knew. Afternoon. After the second class. The second class in Class C is a history class taught by the homeroom teacher, Mr. Chibashira. According to the teacher's notice, today's class is over, but everyone needs to go to the gymnasium to participate in the mobilization meeting of the sports meeting. That is to say. Sure enough, that's the case. The sports festival is about to begin. Then that terrible penalty of -10 points for each subject in the next written exam for the bottom 10 will also come. Most of the students in Class C looked at Kushida-san. It's okay, Kushida made an okay gesture to them. After returning from lunch break, she discussed it with Hirata-kun. Everyone finally climbed up to Class C, but now so many students are worried about the punishment of falling into the bottom 10. So even if there is a way to deal with this sports festival, it will be difficult for everyone to cooperate. So, therefore, she felt the need to reassure everyone. So, she confessed to Hirata that she needed to collect points and then buy peace. In other words. So she still pulled Hirata-kun into the water. Hirata-san is a very gentle person and a good teacher in the class, while Kushida is also a little angel in the class, often helping to resolve and mediate disputes and conflicts among classmates. But just like Kushida's initial evaluation of Hirata, she felt that there was something in Hirata's heart. After all, there is no absolute good or absolute evil. And Hirata's good-natured man must have some past that he cannot tell others. So with Hirata's cooperation, a total of 30 students hope not to fall into the bottom 10. If there is a way to avoid it, then they are willing to pay more than 100,000 points. After all, I just got 250,000 points, and then I received more than 40,000 points today. So everyone is also very wealthy. Although Hirata-kun said that points can be converted into money, if he failed in the written test, and then had points deducted in the subsequent exams, and eventually dropped out of school, then there would be nothing. So with this in mind, these students are willing to hand over part of their wealth points to buy peace. So, 30 students ended up submitting the idea. When the statistics were finished, Kushida-san was speechless. I somewhat understand why Horikita Suzun chose to gather so many points and fly solo. Because even now that they have been promoted to Class C, they are only 240 points away from Class B. But I always feel like I can't fly. Because if you can use points to skip this exam, what about the next exam? What about the next exam? There aren't that many points in the class either. But Kushida was also concerned about something. Because her only job is to organize these students and collect money. After that, we asked Horikita-san to take over. So, she couldn't even tell her what the plan was. Because the second class in the afternoon has ended. After a while, the bell rang. Although it is not the official opening ceremony of the sports festival, it is still a large-scale organization. All teachers and students of the school will gather in the gymnasium. The gymnasium is quite spacious. Second and third grade students are also coming in one after another. On the ground, there are lines drawn for each grade and even each class. And here Oreki and the others came once when they were enrolled in school, and now they walked in line, but it was different from the first time. The two teams in class are no longer boys and girls. Instead, they separated into the Sakayanagi faction and the Katsuragi faction. I don't know what Sakayanagi-san is thinking. She also gave up standing at the top of the Sakayanagi faction and stood next to Oreki-san. Just when Oreki-san was about to say something, he realized that the seniors on the other side of the summit had already started talking. I am Fujimaki from class A of the third year, and I will serve as the general conductor of this sports festival. On the summit, a tall, thin boy wearing glasses was talking. The host was Manabu Horikita, who was not the student council president. He just stood to one side and gave the space to Fujimaki. The people below seemed to be slightly agitated when they saw that it was not Manabu Horikita who was in charge. In fact, I am more surprised. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 222. Because the first-year students were looking at the student council members at the summit with disbelief. There are not many student council members standing on the summit. Like the king, Horikita Manabu is still very stressful even if he doesn't speak, and as the vice president, they don't know the second-year Class B vice president Kiryu, and the former vice president and current accountant Nagayunya feel aggrieved because as an accountant he does not need to take the stage. So now he is at the top of his class. But the position of secretary is different. The old secretary Tachibana Akane and the new secretary Katsuragi Kahei are both on it. This is enviable. Because I was only a first-year student, I joined the student council. Katsuragi Yasuhei, a classmate with thick features, is standing next to Horikita Manabu. Although he usually looks calm, he always looks a little nervous. It's rare to see Katsuragi-kun's nervous expression. Katsuragi-kun. The first-year students recognized him, and the second and third-year students were looking at him with strange eyes, perhaps with envy, perhaps with confusion, perhaps with jealousy. Because, although Horikita Manabu is unsmiling, they all admit that he is an excellent president, and this president will also promote people in an exceptional way. For example, his vice president Kiryu was demoted from Class A to lower Class B class chooses there. Because he felt that even though his class ranking dropped, Kiryu-san was still outstanding, so he could be entrusted with important responsibilities. Therefore, being elected to the student council means being considered outstanding by the president. So being able to join the student union is basically confirmed as being recognized by Horikita Academy. Why would Katsuragi from Class A, isn't he a first grader? Is it so easy to get into the student union? There are many such discussions in both first-year Class B and Class D. Especially here in Class B, because Ichinos applied to join the student union last week and was rejected. According to Horikita Manabu, you still need to practice. If he could advance to the second grade, he would give him a chance. Although Horikita had already graduated and left school at that time. In other words, Horikita Manabu thinks the first-year students are great. So Katsuragi-san is quite eye-catching now. It seems that Oreki-san gave Katsuragi-san a good toy, Sakayanagi Yuzu said suddenly from beside Oreki. Oreki. I always felt that Sakayanagi-san in the afternoon seemed to have a thorn in his side. But the third-year Fujimaki-senpai continued to speak. I want to give a piece of advice to the first-year students. Some people may say it is a long-winded thing, but the sports festival is a very important event. Please keep this in mind. The experience gained at the sports festival will definitely be applied to other opportunities. There will be many exams in the future that look like games at first glance. But no matter which one they are, they will become important battles that determine whether or not they will survive in school. This Fujimaki-san is imparting experience, but what he says is similar to that of a homeroom teacher who won't tell you anything. Among the projects involving all grades, only the final 1,200-meter relay race is at the school level. Other than that, they are all single-year level projects. Each grade will now gather together and discuss policies as they please. What he said was of no use. But this kind of organization really needs people who talk nonsense. Oreki-san even wondered if it was because he was talking nonsense that Horikita gave the right to speak to Fujimaki, who was also a student in Class A. After all, this Fujimaki senior is not even a member of the student council. I said. At this moment, a person suddenly raised his hand. Although everyone was talking but only in low voices, this man stood out. He raised his hand and Oreki looked over. That was Ryuan Sho, who casually parted his flaming red hair in the middle. Will there be no points deducted if I don't follow the rules today? Ryuan really asked a surprising question loudly. And just from this voice, Oreki already understood that Ryuan-san probably wanted to do something, even taking advantage of this sports festival. Although he couldn't regain his position in Class C in terms of points, he could still shorten the time. Distance. Because even though Oreki, Sakayanagi, and Katsuragi didn't like the current score, but it's different for Long Yuan. His class is now Class D, so he is getting an advantage and can be taken away by the red team. Therefore, it is the class evaluation score of the winning team who picked up the first free add 100 bonus points. Then look at the rivalry in the same grade. First place add 100 points class evaluation score. Second place add 0. Third place minus 50 class evaluation points. Fourth place minus 100 points class evaluation score. The score is not high, but if it can get first place, then Ryuan's class can get add 200, and then Ichino's and Horikita's class, if they lose the red and white team confrontation, then the class will first have minus 100 points. Evaluation score. Then let class B or D fall to fourth place, and Ryuan's class will suddenly be stable. Seeing Ryuan being so motivated, Oreki-san finally felt that this sports meeting was a bit over the top. Because he is energetic now. The arrangement for Horikita-san and Kushida-san to collect the 4 million points from Class C is just an appetizer. Class C is still Class C, you can squeeze it out any time you like. For him, if Ryuan-kun wants to take action, then that is the time for him to take action. Because you can roll over all the points in Ryuan at once. Chapter 095, Mr. Long Yuan is very fat and can be killed. Long Yuan, Japan. Still 9,000 words. Oreki-san felt a little more energetic. Last night he was almost brought up by Kushida-san, so he is quite low on energy now. But after a morning, my spirit has recovered. In the previous Kojima exam, Oreki-san was very gentle and only took half of everyone's points. Therefore, the students still have 250,000 private points in their hands. In total, there are about more than 3,000 and close to 40 million. Considered wealthy. Then he also told the representatives of each class that when they graduate, the points in their hands can be exchanged for cash with the school. This will allow them and the first-year students to treat points more carefully. In other words, they will work hard to save money. And what is the point of saving money? Of course, if you have accumulated enough, you can take it over. This school's strength is paramount, and points are paramount. The only people who legitimately receive points are students and faculty. However, faculty and staff can also exchange points into cash and send it home through the school's cash exchange method, while students will basically only be recycled when they graduate from 3rd grade. So, searching for students' points is the most reasonable plan. In this way, Ryuan-san's actions attracted Oreki-san's attention. In fact, Oreki liked Ryuan very much, because Ryuan would take the initiative to take on the task of collecting points every time. And presumably this time, Long Yuan also wanted to do something. And now? Am I not going to deduct points if I don't follow the rules today? As the leader of Class D, the tyrant Ryuan raised his hand directly. Well. And now on the summit is Fujimaki-san from Class A of the 3rd grade. The information obtained by Oreki-san shows that although 3rd-year Class A is the class of the Student Council President Horikita's brother, the students in the class are not particularly outstanding. Otherwise, there would be no Student Council. The only members of Class A of the 3rd grade are Horikita Manabu and Tachibana Akane. And Fujimaki-senpai was elected, even though it was just for talking nonsense. And these long-winded words still have to be said. However, the current unexpected situation troubled him very much. Didn't think of how to deal with it. So, almost subconsciously, he turned to look at the student council president Horikita Manabu standing aside. Unfortunately, President Horikita was expressionless now, so he could only continue, yes, this meeting is just for each grade to have contact with their corresponding teams. Therefore, logically speaking, there will be no points deduction for failure to comply with discipline. But then it'll be fine. However, Ryuan interrupted him directly. Let's go back. This kind of meeting is meaningless and won't earn any points. But despite these words, the students in Class D actually turned around. This kind of control was touching. No, it's not, but Ryuan actually wanted to lead the first-year Class D students to leave directly. Fujimaki was a little anxious. If you refuse to cooperate, or are not keen to participate in cooperation, it will be very undesirable in your future life or in the current red-white confrontation team. You will get a bitter fruit. You know, if your actions cause the entire world to if the team fails, then your class will be the first to suffer a 100-point deduction from the evaluation score. Fujimaki said. Aren't there still you guys? Are you going to let us lose? But Ryuan had already told the students in Class D to turn around and was ready to leave. Well. And Fujimaki-senpai probably had never met anyone like Ryuan before, so he was at a loss to deal with this situation. Wait a minute. As the new secretary, Katsuragi-san walked off the stage. Ryuan is now in Class D of the first grade, and Class D and Class A form the white team. It can be said that if Class D wants to commit suicide, it will affect Class A, which is very detrimental to Class A who wants to secure a stable class ranking. Although it will also affect the second and third grade red teams. But now it is indeed Class A that bears the brunt. So the one speaking now is Katsuragi-san. And Long Yuan smiled. I wanted to leave out of good intentions. Even if I propose cooperation, I don't think you will believe me. In the end, we will just be spying on each other's ideas from the beginning, right? This is a waste of time, Ryuan said. What he said was actually correct. If the classes that were originally competing were suddenly allowed to join forces to form teams, could this become so smooth and make progress together? Instead, it may develop into spying on each other, which would be a waste of time and combat effectiveness. And during the preferential candidate exam, Ryuan tried to reunite with Class B, but was rejected, for sure. Because if trust is lost once, it will die. Ryuan himself knew this too. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 223. Therefore, while Ryuan was talking, he was preparing to lead all the students in Class D to step out. Hey, wait, but Katsuragi-san couldn't be dismissed like this. Are you confident that you can win this exam without cooperating? It should be said that it was him who was the first to stop Ryuan. On the one hand, it might just be to show in front of the whole school that if something bad happened, it would be Ryuan and the others' fault because they did not accept the arrangement. They, Class A, have tried their best. On the other hand, Katsuragi also understands that Ryuan is a very smart person, whether it is a class full of scumbags who got a perfect score of 100 in the regular written examination, or whether he joined forces with Itchy Nose and the others in the Kojima examination. And constant probing during the preferential candidate exam. It even almost drove Kanzaki Ryaji from Class B crazy. It all shows that Long Yuan is not a decadent person. On the contrary, he is very keen on winning. So, by doing this, Ryuan has found a reason or arrangement that requires him to throw away the very powerful Class A, and then lead to victory. What he wanted was this information. But Long Yuan did not stop. A frivolous haha, who knows, emerged from the corner of his mouth. Can't find out clearly. So, as he moved forward, the team of Class D really walked away one by one and walked out of the entrance of the gymnasium. So, what to do at this time? What a poor guy. At this time, Sakayanagi-san beside Oreki-san suddenly said. Oreki-san looked at Sakayanagi-san. If ordinary students were around, they would probably laugh at Ryuuen's lack of cooperation. But Oreki knew that the one beside him was the person whom he had always wanted to blame for leading Class A. So, what do you think, Sakayanagi-san? Do you mean Ryuuen-kun? I think they are very pitiful, Sakayanagi-yuzu said. If you are so impulsive now, then I am afraid that after this sports festival, Oreki-san will strip me naked. Oreki. He didn't go that far, but it was true that he wanted to wipe out Ryuuen's class in one fell swoop. I understand a little bit why Oreki-san is no longer interested in leading our class's sports festival this time. It turns out I found a toy. Hey, she seemed to sigh softly, it's great. Oreki-san can find interesting toys in school. But it's very boring for me to be alone. There was a hint of resentment in what he said. At the same time, since the sports festival was all about sports, she had no choice but to abstain. So it's really boring to her. Oreki. Think about it for a moment. Speaking of which, I once had an orange cat at home, Oreki-san said. If you just spend a few points, you can still get it to the school. School rules. Use points to buy anything. And is buying a cat too much? It should be possible. If not, then it's just that there are not enough points. What Oreki-san has the most right now is points. Not to mention that Kushida-san and Horikita-san have already arranged for students in Class C to be exempted from the bottom 10. Then you can earn more than 3 million points. Then as long as Long Yuan takes action, nearly 10 million points will be recorded. So it is not difficult to pay to let cats into the school. Cat. Sakayanagi-san seemed a little interested. Yes, but I'm a little fat. I weigh 10 pounds now, Oreki-san said. Then I want to touch it, Sakayanagi said. Oreki. Alright. So, he planned to move the cat he kept at home to the school. But this can be regarded as barely comforting her. This is based on Kushida's experience. If your girlfriend is unhappy, you can try giving her a gift. But Oreki-san suddenly reacted. That is because he and Sakayanagi-san are not dating. So why should you care about her mood? However, saying no seems very heartless. Moreover, she seemed to be looking forward to it. Well, this is really complicated. By the way, does Long Yuan's current actions mean anything? However, from the side, a voice sounded. In other words, there was one person who couldn't understand their conversation and was confused by Ryuuen's reaction. And this person is Kamuro, classmate with long purple hair. Kamuro-san approached Oreki alone before the Kojima exam, hoping that he could maintain his status in Class A. Generally speaking, she is a student of Class A, and she hopes to take Class A's ride to school to redeem her rewards. In other words, she cares about class rivalry and wants to maintain her status in Class A. But this time in the exam, Ryuuen's class fell to Class D. Then Class A and Class D in the entire school were combined into the red group. Winning in the large group will bring 100 points to the class evaluation score, while losing will result in 100 points being deducted. Therefore, if the Ryuuen class is absolutely uncooperative, it may affect the final victory of the big group. If you are worried about Ryuuen's actions, don't worry about it. Oreki-san said. The third-year class is reliable enough. At the same time, Nagamo-senpai's second-year students are all cracking down on cheating, so if Ryuuen does something too ugly, he will also take the blame. He won't let himself lose. Won't you let yourself lose? As someone close to Sakayanagi-san and Oreki-san, Kamuro-san will have more information. I know that the class evaluation scores of the second-year seniors are very strange. And then basically being manipulated. Since it is controlled, there is really no need to worry. Ah, I fell down, all abstentions and the like are available. As for Long Yuan's thoughts, almost when Ryuan did this, Oreki-san had already considered Ryuan's idea. Ryuan's thinking is unique. Likes to find rules and then break them to gain great benefits. This time, Ryuan's actions seemed to provoke everyone, but in fact, what he did was correct. 1. Pointless. There's no point in staying and joining forces with Class A, and then discussing something like that. Because what can you gain by joining forces with Class A? Among the participating events, there are only 2 competitions in which the 2 classes can join forces. One is the reverse pole competition, only for boys, horseback riding, only for girls, and the second is the 4-way tug of war among the recommended events. And for Long Yuan, a class like Class A, which just wants to keep its own class status, has no other option but to go all out, so even if they don't join forces, Class A will still play obediently. In other words, Class A will definitely go all out. In this way, no need to talk much. Can save time. Then of course there is no need to stay. Second, don't even think about joining forces with Class A. The probability of winning is very high. Because now Class A and Class D form the red team, that is, Class A in the first grade, Class A in the second grade, and Class A in the third grade. These are the best classes in the school. They are all classes with the strongest hardware. It can be said that with these powerful assistants, other classes are almost like bubbles. So in other words, there is a high probability that you will get a 100-point class evaluation score in the red-white confrontation while lying down. So after seeing this, there is no need to communicate, just wait to be taken away. In this way, what he needs to consider is not the battle between the whole school, but the first-year duel. So what he really has to consider is how to improve the total score of Class D and how to lower the scores of other classes. There was definitely no formal way to do this, and Oreki had been waiting for him to take action. Because Ryuan Sho should have about 4 million points in his hand now. But the students in his Class D still have 150,000 points each. After integration, we should be able to come up with about 6 million. In other words, after raising Long Yuan for several days, in this sports meeting, I was finally able to cheat all of Long Yuan's points. So Oreki-san is actually quite excited. According to Sakayanagi-san, he found an interesting toy. Well, although this metaphor is too much, it does feel a little more exciting. In this way, after Katsuragi-san cleared the relationship, first-year Class A also decided to withdraw. After all, Ryuan was very independent and led his team away. Class A and Class D united, leaving only Class A, and no one was left to discuss it. But Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 224. Oreki glanced in the direction of first-year Class C. Students in Class C of the first grade stood in 2 rows, divided into boys and girls. But the students in the front row are not just Hirata, Horikita-san, and Kushida-san. Instead, he stood casually. In other words, even though they have been promoted, Class C still maintains its original style. At the same time, Yuanji seemed to have left after Ryuan obtained the argument that he would not be deducted points. He followed suit. In other words, he will not work hard in this exam. After all, his 20 million plan can basically be left alone. But now we have to collect money from those students in Class C who don't want to be in the last 10, so we'd better do something. Then, on the way back to Class A, Oreki-san edited the message and sent it to the relevant personnel. It seems that Class A has also left. Watching Ryuan lead Class C away directly, students from Class A also began to leave. So now the only students left in the first grade area are students from Class B and Class C. The students in Class B remain unchanged, but the students in Class C are promoted from the Ajima examination preferential examination. And the current evaluation scores of the 4 classes are as follows. Oreki-san's class A has a score of 1801. Ichino's class B has a score of 970. Horikita-san's class C has a score of 780. Class D, where Ryuan Show is located, has a score of 440. This time, Class B and Class C were divided into one large group. All belong to the white team. The little angels of Class B can never be as unique as Ryuan. So, as red and white fight against mid-red, as the white team has been determined to be at a disadvantage. Ichino's and Kanzaki from Class B also led their classmates over. Students in Class A also have a hard time, and they are actually organized together with Ryuan and the others, Ichino's said, but she looked at Hirata-kun and then at Horikita. Although it is not good for me to say this, but Ryuan-kun always acts independently, so we probably can't let down our guard at this sports meeting. So her IQ is definitely not low, and she immediately discovered what Ryuan wanted to do. That's why I warned Class C. Thank you for your advice, but judging from your tone, is it based on experience? But this was Hirata's answer. Well, this nice gentleman Hirata-san seems to easily make people lose their friendship. Because of this sentence, the expressions of the 2 representatives of Class B changed. First is Ichino's. Boom. It was because Ibuki and Kaneda who were sent by Ryuan spied on the leader's information. Then Ichino's had to go to the rain to shut herself up. And this is full of shame. Rather. According to Oreki-san's analysis, Ryuan also arranged for spies to go to Kojinji's class. But the team leader at JUNG changed. But they don't have it here. They don't have the courage. So being the leader of Kojinji's class is not a leak. As a result, in the morning, Class B had to transfer points worth 150 class evaluation points to Long Yuan according to the agreement, which totaled 600,000 points. And these things can't be said. Hirata-san, probably sensing Ichino's embarrassment, Ryaji Kanzaki, the deputy class president behind her, stood up and said, "Do you have any thoughts about this sports meet? Ideas? We haven't discussed this campaign yet," Hirata said. Profound. Then they are very Class D, oh no, but they are already Class C now. Although as a classmate of Class B, he doesn't like to look down on others, but Kanzaki-san also feels that even if he dies, he can't let his classmates from Class C catch up. Especially now that the class evaluation scores of the 2 classes only differ by 190 points. And Kojinji in your class. Kanzaki-san also knew the name of the man who unceremoniously cleared their camp on the island stronghold and asked them to move overnight. There was already a shadow of a man. But I don't seem to have seen the blonde-haired man in Class C's team. Juyuan Temple. That guy actually said that I am a genius. If I compete with you mortals, you will become autistic, so I will not participate. Thank you for my big belly. A student from Class C was a little angry. Said. The person who spoke was Syudo. It is recognized that Syudo is physically very strong. And the one at Juyuan Temple is not bad either. Such information is available both in schools and on ships. Therefore, JUNG's non-participation means that Class C has almost lost a strong man who can make a lot of points. Oh. However, these words clearly made Kanzaki-san feel at ease. Although Class B and Class C are now under the white team and belong to the same group, in addition to the red and white group confrontation in the whole school, there is also the score ranking of the same grade. The difference in class evaluation scores between the 2 classes is too small. Therefore, JUNG is unwilling to take action again, which is much safer for their Class B. And about this, however, at this time, Horikita Suzun suddenly said. These are not important. Oh. Horikita-san took the initiative to speak and focused all her attention. Ichino's also looked over. She still understands a little bit. Because during the preferential candidate exams, Oreki-san and Horikita-san were often together. Then, Oreki-san chose outcome 1, and Horikita-san was the last to leave. Therefore, compared to Hirata-kun or Kushida-san, Ichi-nose actually cares more about Horikita-san's thoughts. After all, it was difficult to determine whether it was Oreki-san's instruction. Compared to the class arrangements for this sports festival, Horikita Suzun said, "I now collect money from the students in my class, and I need to buy a guarantee for them. Students in my class don't want to be at the bottom of the bottom 10 individual rankings. Otherwise, the next written test will cost -10 points for each subject, so I hope you students in Class B can cooperate," Horikita said. This is not something that needs to be concealed. The motor skills of our students in Class C are indeed not strong enough. Therefore, in the individual competition that is mandatory, I hope that you, Class B, can give us some slack. In other words, the individual competition of the students in my class who have poor motor skills overlaps with your class. I hope the students in your class will abstain appropriately. A-XN. Moment. Almost everyone gasped. Because, whether it was the matter of receiving the money, or the fact that the students in Class C actually paid Horikita-san because they didn't want to be counted down to the last 10, they couldn't be talked about directly in public. Although Kushida-san remained cute, he also paid attention. Because she wanted to know what Oreki-san said about the plan that would allow the bad students and bad athletes in Class C to get through the sports festival safely. The result is, D. Are you going to let the students in Class B go out of their way? Or say it in public? Everyone in Class C. The classmates who were originally surrounding Horikita Suzun were stunned. A student from Class B. A passing second-year student from Class A. Because. How can you say such a thing in public? This is a gymnasium. Are you actually discussing in public that students from Class B should have a fake race? Are you serious? Ichino-san also looked over in surprise. It's just, such words, what you say, it's very, very embarrassing dash. Some students in Class C also became restless. Probably because he felt that even though he was a bad student and a bad athlete, it was embarrassing for Horikita-san to say so and ask the students of Class B to abstain to create a chance for them not to be at the bottom. It's just that if the classmates in Class B are willing to let us go, then we may not be among the bottom 10, and then we won't have to deduct 10 points from the written test. However, Kuruzawa on the other side of the girls' group said in a low voice. Although it was quiet, it attracted most of the people. As soon as this voice came out, most of the sports and academic scumbags in the class, both male and female, fell silent and waited for the development. After all, when they asked Kushida-san and Hirata-san for help, they had already agreed to pay. And is this the solution now? I hope Class B will let go. This kind of thing. Ichi-nose felt very embarrassed. Even the classmates behind her looked shocked. Ichi-nose Kanzaki-san, who had just spoken, was also at a loss. Although Horikita Suzun also said that this is because the students in Class C have poor academic ability and poor athletic ability, and they are worried about falling into the bottom 10, and then the next written examination will be deducted by -10 points for each subject, resulting in failure. Decision made. But can they agree to such a thing? And Ichi-nose also somewhat understood why Horikita Suzun said she had received money. Because such words cannot be said without paying. Only. Are they required to make such concessions now? How to say? She seemed a little confused, but an ordinary class would probably reject this kind of thing outright. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 225. Can I discuss it with everyone first? She said. Of course, the students in Class C had no intention of refusing, so Ichi-nose really gathered around with the students in Class B. So they are not ordinary students. Harmony, getting along, excellence, and high quality. That is to say, Our Lady. And this is very difficult to survive in this school. Oreki-san, who has returned to class, was thinking about the feedback message he received from Horikita-san. After everyone's discussion. However, Ichi-nose and the others didn't discuss it for long before they turned around and said, "Since we are companions, of course we can't just watch you get into trouble. Just making too many concessions won't work, so when the time comes, give us your list so that we can discuss with you how to adjust the concessions for you. After all, we are peers, but in the end we have to compete among the grade level." Yet, this agreement directly caused a group of sports scum in Class C to shout and jump excitedly. Because the students in Class B are willing to cooperate, their individual scores will definitely not be in the bottom 10. Because there are also second and third year Class D students who are bad athletes, and these seniors must have no one to give them a break. So thinking like this, the sports scumbags are in a good mood. It kind of sticks out in the gym. What happened to them? The junior and sophomore camps took notice. It should be said that Horikita Manabu had just come down from the summit. In fact, when he was standing high up, he had already discovered that his sister was bringing students from Class C and students from Class B into contact. What should I say? The second year class, a student who just passed by, was Nagaunya said. In fact, his second grade does not need to be discussed, because the class representatives of the four classes still sit down and discuss how to take the final exam, including the list of appearances and so on. The past of Nanyunhui was actually accidental. He just suddenly discovered the top beautiful girl Suzun that Oreki Houtarou brought with him before. The little angel Kushida appeared. Then Ichino's senpai also appeared. So I wanted to go over and say hello. Result: Suzun took money from the class again and then asked Ichi-nose and the others to let go. This move surprised him as well. In other words, Suzun was indeed led astray by that guy Oreki Houtarou. That guy Oreki Houtarou has money, and now Suzun is also money and money. Nanyun felt heartbroken. It seems that the representative of Class C made a request to Class B to let Class B go free. Nanyunya adjusted her words and said, "Is it?" Chairman Horikita kept his usual expression. But Nagamo is someone who knows Horikita well, and he always feels that Horikita senpai's expression seems to have softened a bit. Of course. Because Horikita Suzun is his sister. He has always been worried that his sister will not be able to adapt to the school, and he is also worried that she will not know how to adapt when she goes out, and she may be bullied. So I finally agreed to Oreki-san's suggestion to keep my sister. At least it can be under your nose, and you can take care of it if anything happens. But now that these days have passed, my sister has finally changed. It will become a little more flexible. Although it sounds embarrassing to ask the students of Class B to let loose. But my sister's class was originally Class D, which was the class with the worst hardware after evaluation. So there are a lot of sports scum and the like. As a result, I am willing to take action for these people. And I still hope that the Alliance class will let go. In other words, is this integrated into the class? Apparently. Brother Horikita didn't know that his sister was only receiving 10% of the payment. Then, because Class C felt relieved after getting permission from Ichi-nose and the others to release the water. But Ichi-nose also agreed, so he decided to go back and discuss how to fight. After all, to release water, people need to make corresponding arrangements. You can't let things go casually, they also have to take exams. Therefore, Class C needs to provide students entry forms and then arrange for students who have abstained. In this way, among first-year students, after first-year Class D and Class A left, first-year Class C also left. Then the remaining students in Class B were also preparing to leave. After all three classes had left, and they had no one left to talk to. Only Ichi-nose, what do you really mean? And after walking out of the gymnasium, Kanzaki-san, who wanted to take the exam seriously this time, suddenly said, "Although I know the difficulties of the students in Class C, there is no problem in helping them. However, a complete virgin is not suitable for this school." Because Ryuan gave them a lesson during the Kojima exam, the front foot agreed to the agreement, but the back foot was stabbed in the back. So Kanzaki-san has to be such a virgin. And Ichino-san has also had the experience of being caught in the rain. Nature. Ichino's now also puts the interests of the class first, so naturally the first thing he considers is the interests of the class. Although it is Horikita-san who is stepping forward to request now, Horikita-san is often seen acting together with Oreki-san, and during the preferential candidate exam, she was also behind Oreki-san, so Ichino's didn't finish. But Kanzaki Ryaji already understood. That is to say, this is probably still Oreki-san's intention. And we agree that this is also an alternative method to seal Oreki-san away. For Kanzaki Ryaji, there is a shadow of Kojinji, and Oreki-san from Class A also taught him a very important lesson in the preferential candidate exam. So it's a psychological shadow add 1. As for Ichino's explanation, he could accept it. If that's the case, it's okay to agree to them, he said. And we also got their class's appearance list on the pretext of assisting them. This also makes it easier for us to arrange our combat strength, Kanzaki-san analyzed, so we are not really at a loss. In other words, it is quite important. So I think Oreki-san thought of this, so he gave Horikita-san the instruction. Since we can get the list of students from Class C, we can also make appropriate adjustments to ensure that our class's score will not be C graded this time. Banu goes over, Ichino said. In other words, we are certain that we will agree. And saying so, she gave a wry smile. I always feel like I'm still not suitable for using my brain. Can't it be simpler? If we don't think like this, our Class B will fall soon, Kanzaki-san concluded. This school is really disturbing. So what makes people feel troubled is that Oreki-san has already received a transfer from Horikita-san. 4 million points. Then I will give back 10% to Horikita-san and 5% to Kushida-san. As for himself, it was after Katsuragi-san put everyone together to test their physical fitness and arranged the entry form for the competition. Went to the chairman's office. The student union is busy now, maybe still over there in the gymnasium. So now he can only find the chairman. Only. I've done what you asked me to do, by the way. How did you come up with the plan to let Class B go free? I was surprised to hear that by Kuruzawa Megami. Oreki-san entrusted Horikita-san with the work. But Horikita-san often doesn't receive special attention. So I need someone to help me with it. And Kuruzawa is perfect for this kind of thing. In other words, she didn't seem to want to trouble him before, so she had to say that he was protecting her and would use her words. Result. Isn't she doing a good job? In other words, I hope to bring the cat at home to school. Chairman Sakayanagi met with Oreki-san. I feel a little lonely leaving the cat at home, Oreki-san said. But do you have any pets at home? I am applying to the chairman to bring my cat here. Oreki-san sent her a message. Pet, if it's a hamster, I have one. The name is Houtarou. Profound. Then help Kuruzawa pay the cost of bringing the pet in with him. Chapter 096. The Horikita siblings don't understand people's hearts, and Kuruzawa is numb, so you ask me to help my love rival? Returning from the chairman's office, Oreki-san discovered that the tests for his classmates were not over yet. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 226. Considering that I was also a student in Class A, I joined in. Although his body's physical fitness has been modified, there will be no problem no matter what event he participates in. Of course, you need to be careful not to cheat casually. But other students don't know that. So he took a look at the body's values before the transformation. Isn't it great that the grip strength is 60.03 kg? I didn't expect that he looked so thin but turned out to be so strong. Then I'll leave it to you to take part in the subsequent horse riding battles, Oreki-kun. Katsuragi-san was in charge of recording, and he also needed to integrate all the data of the students in the class. Then consider in what order you should participate in the necessary events, and in order to gain points, try not to let the seed players in your class squeeze into the same event or two events, etc. These require time and effort. So these are busy and complicated tasks. That's why Oreki-san doesn't want to be the conductor in this sports festival. But that's not to say there's nothing gained at all. Kamuro-kun, aren't you very good at running? After taking the physical fitness test, Oreki-san did not leave immediately. Instead, he waited for a while and watched the girls' 100-meter race. As expected, Kamuro-san must have been trained. Whether it was the start or the final sprint, the performance was very good. The explosive power is probably the best among the girls in the class. Hee. In response, Maesumi Kamuro just smiled coldly. And Oreki-san understood. It seems like she has a past that she doesn't want to explain. Judging from the clubs she joined, although she joined them to express herself as a student of Class A, Oreki-san also visited her works in the art club when she was bored. It is indeed not like learning halfway, but rather a long period of accumulation. She doesn't hate sports, but she is also good at drawing. And because Sakayanagi Arisa caught him in a secret that couldn't be told to others, he had to obey Sakayanagi-san. So it's probably that one. What I like is that I want to be an athlete, but my family's requirement is to paint. Then there are seeds in my heart that cannot be settled, and I may do some unspeakable actions to suppress it. And Sakayanagi-san's management of Kamuro-san is very harsh and strict. I think there is a reason why Kamuro-san has changed subtly. And this also shows in disguise that Kamuro-san's flaw may have a considerable negative impact on Class A. Oreki-san analyzed. My training test is over. Kamuro went to Katsuragi, who was recording. Well, okay, just add another hurdle, Katsuragi said. Kamuro-san, your 100-meter run is very fast, so I want to include you in the 1,200-meter relay. And, if you don't object, I would like to arrange for you, Oreki-san, to be involved in a two-person, three-legged recommended project. Katsuragi-san said. Then, after registering the data with Katsuragi-san, Kamuro-san left the playground. But instead of heading to the cafeteria or classroom, she headed in another direction. The school only has one large playground. Because of the sports meeting, many classes are taking physical fitness tests. However, the current situation is that the test of Class A is basically over, and the students of Class C are belatedly arriving. Come in two teams, boys and girls. But they separated quickly. It seems that Hirata-kun and Kushida-san took some classmates to apply for testing equipment. And Kamuro-san went that way, that is to say, to inquire about the situation in other classes. When it comes to intelligence, she is excellent. If you are going to get information about the students in Class C, I can go with you, Oreki-san said. I'm not asking for information, but Kamuro Maesumi shook his head. Sakayanagi Yuzu is asking me for information about the girls who appear around you, so I have to go to Class C to find out. Oreki-san. Alright. Pretend he didn't say this. But when he went to inquire about information about the girls around him, he actually said it directly. It means that Kamuro-san, you are swaying in front of him and Sakayanagi-san. Even though Kamuro-san has bad motives, Oreki-san still has to act as a class A student occasionally. So he accepted the mission to investigate the situation of Class C. The boys in Class C gathered together, and Hirata had already brought back the equipment. But they don't seem to care about efficiency. The boys are all here on the grippers. The girls were arranged to be tested in the 100-meter race. Each student is required to participate in 9 projects. They are 100-meter race, hurdle race, inversion contest, men only, netball competition, women only, male and female groups tug of war, obstacle race, 2 people and 3 legs, fight on horseback, 200m race. Although according to Oreki-san's plan, the sports scumbags of Class C got the abstention vote from the Little Angels of Class B, when they, the sports scumbags, came on the court, the Little Angels of Class B chose to abstain. Oreki-san has also thought about the idea of letting the Little Angels of Class B go free. On the one hand, Oreki-san is paid, so he needs to win over the sports scumbags from Class C. After all, if we cooperate the first time and save them from dropping out, it will be more convenient next time. On the other hand, this plan is actually delaying Class B. Because if you give up, you won't be able to get the points in the individual competition. Therefore, in the end, the total class score and the total score of the red-white confrontation may be weakened by Class B. So in this aspect, Oreki-san still feels that he is in Class A. But, by the way, if we conduct the hand grip strength test, wouldn't it be better if girls are around? And here in Class C, some boys were a little bit shouting. It seemed that he thought he could show off, but he was surrounded by men, so he was not interested. After all, anyone who is not stupid knows that most of the girls in their class are of high quality. Therefore, even if you are not liked, but you can make girls cheer and pay attention, it will be exciting. And this boy is the red-haired Takeru Syodo. After he entered school, he joined the basketball club and became an official member. He is a strong athlete, but he is a real bad student, and his personality is not decisive enough. When Oreki-san was still short of money, he arranged for Syodo-san and Takahiraji to fight Ryuan together. But at that time, Syodo was ridiculed by Ryuan and was even scared. 80.5 kg Syodo, you are very good, Hirata-san was very excited as he held the record sheet. Because Syodo's strength was quite outstanding, his body was not inferior to that of Class A students who were good at sports. Hirata-san is a good gentleman, and what he wants most is to maintain relationships with his classmates. And he thinks it's great to have a goal together and work hard together. So I'll be fine if I participate in all the events in this sports festival. I'm sure I can get first place, Syodo said. 80.5 kilograms, what kind of monster, Hirata, mine is 42.2 kg. Another boy from Class C spoke. Also, we don't want girls to come over at this time dash. Because most of the boys in Class C are also very good at sports. Yukimura, isn't it, you haven't even passed 30 kg. There are also things like this. Yukimura is the top student in Class C. He once insulted Horikita-san, but was insulted back. He looked sad and did not want the girls to come over. Because his performance was really bad. At the same time, there was no presence of Kojinji in the entire occasion. It seems that he doesn't want to mix with ordinary people. Oreki-san left the group of boys in Class C and joined the group of girls. The girls are doing a 100-meter speed test. Horikita Suzune, who has beautiful straight black hair, stood at the finish line and took notes. The girls who finished the first round of 100 meters have passed. Very good results, Horikita Suzune said to a girl with short hair. Oreki-san has obtained information obtained by the Sakayanagi faction. Therefore, I have obtained the basic information of all first-year students, including their names, basic information, and photos, so he can match them. The short-haired girl Horikita-san is talking to now is named Onodera. Because I was in the track and field club when I was in junior high school, said the girl named Onodera. And now also doing track and field. Even so, this speed is incomparable to Kamuro-san. But in Class C, he can be regarded as a seed player for the time being. Give me the water, Oreki-san said. There is someone with him now. The Divine Room. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 227. So Kamuro handed over the water that Oreki saw at the vending machine and arranged for her to buy it. However, she found that Oreki-san did not drink, but turned around and walked towards Horikita Suzune. Water? Leave it alone for now, I'm recording it now, Horikita Suzune said. She saw Oreki-san coming with Kamuro-san. By the way, are you doing it now? She noticed Oreki-san's behavior. Exploring, Horikita Suzune seemed to have just reacted. In addition to testing your own class, it is also important to explore other classes. After all, although there are no spies to spy on the order of appearance of players in other classes, how many seed players there are in other classes is very important. It seems that your class made strategic arrangements before coming for the test, Oreki said. His class A has basically finished testing, so Class C probably went through a discussion and wasted time, so it only appeared now. Horikita. That's pretty much it? My opinion was rejected. Oh. That's it? Although I feel that Horikita-san might be at a disadvantage if her ordinary opinions were used against the class, but does Class C still have the right to refuse? I want to do TNG horse racing, Horikita Suzune said. In other words, arrange some people to be cannon fodder, and then let the seeded players try to score points. This way we won't end up in last place. But those who feel that they will be assigned cannon fodder are very dissatisfied. They feel that the students in Class B have cooperated in abstaining. If they also abstain from being cannon fodder, is it possible that their personal scores will still fall into the bottom 10? In other words, Horikita-san is working hard to protect the class's evaluation score, but the classmates don't buy it. After all, the current class evaluation score of Class C, which is 780 points, also includes 50 points from her. Of course, there is also Oreki-san's 270 points. So of course Horikita Suzune wants to protect her. And Tianji's horse racing plan is actually feasible. Give up some of the students' interests, and then gain greater benefits for the class. If it's his Class A, then yes. But this is Class C, where Oreki-san thinks that as long as he is assigned here, he will immediately quit school. So it's hard to convince these people. On the contrary, when they feel that they can spend money to buy peace, and they have enough money in their hands, they are willing to pay, which is very true. But the person who really has to shoulder the task of protection is Kojinji Rokusuke. But Kojinji-san is not here at all. Takajanji feels that even if the sports festival class comes in last, it is still within a safe range, Horikita-san reported. Oh. Then it is basically in a completely ruined state. Anyway, the probability of -100 points for a red-white matchup is very high, and even if you are in last place, it will be -100 points. The current class evaluation score is 780, after deducting 200 points, there are still 580 points, of which Oreki and Horikita have a total of 320 points, and Kojinji himself has 225 points. Still within the safe range. So I think it's very reasonable not to take action now. Or Juinji probably felt that it had no control over it at all. Because when Horikita made the suggestion, the students in the class directly opposed it, allowing him to deepen his understanding of Class C again. So now I don't show up at all. But I think you can try harder, Oreki-san said. Although Class C is terrible, it must at least look good. Otherwise, Ryuan will not be able to break the rules. Why, Ling-Ian was a little confused. Because the plan has started, Oreki-san said. Ryuan-san might want to do something. He is in Class D now, so what he can do is to use some black methods and take advantage of this opportunity to bring down your class, and then there is nothing else. But your current situation, Ryuan can defeat you without violating any rules. That's right. I want you to center the class ranking list around Houtarou. Sacrifice him, Oreki-san said. What do you mean? Horikita-san has been following him for more than 3 months. I somewhat understand his thoughts. Originally, the people in your class who can be said to be amazing in sports are Takahiraji and Houtarou, but Takahiraji is not here, so I will use Houtarou. Arrange his appearance at the front and make it more conspicuous. And now that he is full of confidence, he will probably win first place at the beginning. Let him attract Ryuan's attention, Oreki said. But there's nothing we can do about it. Then a voice came. Because the situation in Class C is so bad, even if Houtarou appears, Ryuan won't be able to take it seriously. This is Kamuro-san. She followed Oreki-san, and although she found that it was Oreki-san who asked her to buy water, Oreki-san refused to drink it, and then gave it to Horikita Suzune. It made her feel complex. It seems that I can feel a little bit of Italio-san's dissatisfaction. But she soon discovered that Oreki-san did not avoid her when discussing plans with Horikita Suzune. In other words, is it okay to let her hear it? Then you have gained trust. That's why we need to make arrangements for Houtarou, Oreki-san said. Because Class C still has a chance of winning. If it is based on the Tianji horse racing proposed by Horikita-san, then Ryuan should pay attention to it, but since the sports scum in the class will not cooperate, we can only change it. And what I changed was a plan that Class C might win. Oreki-san said. Every student must participate in 9 events, and this cannot be changed. But you should also pay attention to the recommended items. It is not compulsory for all members to participate. It is recommended that the strong ones participate. Respectively. Borrowing items competition. 11 tug of war in all directions. 12 mixed men and women, 2 persons and 3 legs. 13th grade joint 1200 meter relay. Moreover, the points for these 4 recommended competitions are much higher than those for individual competitions. For example, the first place can get 50 points, the second place can get 30 points, the third place can get 15 points, the fourth place can get 10 points, and the third place can get 10 points. 5 points and 8 points. The last event, the joint 1200 meter relay for all grades, has a score of 5th place with 24 points, definitely the highlight. Because it is a recommended project, the players' temporary problems will naturally be taken into consideration. You probably didn't read the information the teacher sent carefully, but I noticed it. There is a rule in the recommendation project. In the recommendation project, contestants can use 100,000 points to make substitutions. But there is no limit on the number of substitutes. That is to say. Oreki-san paused. A bug can be stuck here. Houtarou's personal ability is very strong, and the thing that can increase his performance is the mixed 3-legged place for men and women. It can allow him to constantly come on the bench here to get high scores in the first place. So, Oreki-san said, this may be the key to your Class C's victory. Certainly. Oreki-san added. He looked at Horikita's sister. Don't be a fool and think that since you can catch a bug here, you can do it yourself. You just want to pass this plan to the classmates, and then Houtarou wants to bow Yuan? Then let him bow Yuan become the hero of Class C. And if Ryuan wanted to take action, then he would basically ask Houtarou to send it to the male and female 3-legged team. So Houtarou might not be able to play with the 2-person 3-legged team, Oreki-san said. Then finally. Horikita Suzune already understood. Oreki-san is not here to tell Class C how to win or how to score points. Sacrifice Houtarou and obtain Ryuan's illegal operations, and then. Oreki-san said, we can take over from Ryuan all the points obtained by the students in his class in the preferential treatment test. Could it be that Ling-ian finally came to his senses? Could it be that during the preferential treatment agreement, you specifically prevented Ichi-nose and the others from going back to school to report Ryuan for beating Ibuki and the others just to get Ryuan to agree to the contract? Was it actually for this? Absolutely, Oreki-san said. Because Long Yuan already has a criminal record with the student union. And if the little angels of Class B report Ryuan when they return to school, Ryuan will not dare to use black methods at this sports meeting. Otherwise he will have no choice but to drop out of school. But because the little angels of Class B didn't report it, Ryuan still has the courage. But because if black methods are used again on this occasion, the student union's criminal records can be used. Then Ryuan and the others will face the storm of being expelled from school, so they have no other choice but to pay the money as a whole class. That is to say, they deliberately spared Long Yuan and allowed Long Yuan to use black tactics again. Then collect Ryuan's points again. As expected of you. Indeed. This is much more interesting than simply thinking about the entry form in Class A and then directing Class A's operations. So, after deciding on the plan, Horikita-san needs to continue busy. She is the executor of Oreki-san's plan. But it also requires preparation and execution. So, waiting for the student's test to end, she needs to share the pseudo-based entry form and the two-person and three-legged buggy solution with the students. Make it look like Class C actually has a chance of winning. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 228. And Oreki-san took Kamuro-san away. Since Horikita Suzun didn't drink any water, Oreki-san drank the water in an attitude of not wasting it. He is a man who saves energy and saves money. Now, after today's work is done, all we need to do is get rid of Kamuro-san and let him go home. But Kamuro-san. Kamuro-san. Kamuro-san, Oreki-san noticed that Kamuro Maesumi was absent-minded. Because she seemed to fall behind as she walked. The conversation I just had with Horikita Suzun, am I allowed to listen to those things? Kamuro-san said. Oh, that Oreki-san said. Aren't you being asked by Sakayanagi-san to investigate the girls around me? Profound. In other words, this was to show her that he and Horikita-san were clean and innocent. It's just a matter of planned transactions. But what Kamuro-san was thinking about was, can you report the fact that you gave the water she bought you back to Horikita Suzun? Katsuragi-san is very efficient, probably because he stayed up late last night, so when I saw him the next day, he had a little dark circles under his eyes. However, he has already sorted out the entry forms for his class. The speed in Class C was a little slower, and it took another day. But at noon on the third day, I also submitted it. Ichi-nose from Class B also revised the form and submitted it in the afternoon. It seems that although the little angels of Class B opened the door to Class C, they also obtained Class C's competition arrangements and then made changes. Then Ichi-nose and the others probably understand that Class C can also use Houtarou's two-person three-legged jamming method. In other words, maybe in this first-year sports festival, if there is no intervention, Class B might be quite outstanding. Speaking of it, you are really relaxed. After class was over in the afternoon, Oreki-san discovered that Sakayanagi Yuzu had not left. His cat had been sent to school at noon. He used teleportation to go home in person, then packed it up and sent it to the school together with Kuruzawa's classmate Houtarou. Kuruzawa got the hamster at noon. However, Oreki-san's cat was temporarily sent to Chairman Itayanagi. Oreki-san knew that the cat had been sacrificed to Itayanagi-san, so if it was his cat, it was no longer his cat. Huh? Is it easy? Oreki-san said. After Katsuragi-san submitted the entry form, Oreki-san only had to participate in the 9 mandatory events for each student. Then there was the mixed-gender threesome with Kamuro-kun. However, although I only participated in an additional recommended project. But actually starting yesterday afternoon, all the students in the class participated in physical training for 3 days until the start of the sports festival. So Oreki-san doesn't think it's easy to spend an extra 20 minutes training every day. Oreki-san can obviously participate in the joint 1,200-meter relay for all grades, Sakayanagi Yuzu said. Oh. You said this. The all-grade joint 1,200-meter relay is the highest scoring competition among all events. At the same time, because it is a joint relay, you will also meet other classes. It is the only competition in all sports where students from other grades can compete together. But Oreki-san was not included in the list submitted by Katsuragi-san. I think Katsuragi-san and Hashimoto-san are excellent, Oreki-san said. Kito-san also runs very fast. Sakayanagi. That would be a pity. Sakayanagi Yuzu said. My father recently gave me a high-definition camera. I thought maybe I could record Oreki-san running on the sports field. After all, I can't exercise. There is no chance to experience the feeling of running, she said. Oreki. Due to physical limitations, she has never experienced it. But it seems that Chairman Sakayanagi also loves his daughter very much. I know that in the Kojima exam, Sakayanagi could only stay in school, and then in the sports festival, he had to abstain due to health reasons. Therefore, I probably hope to increase her sense of participation. It's just that Katsuragi-san has already submitted the list of recommended projects. The deadline is today at 1700 hours, and now it is 16:30. Does Sakayanagi-san hope that he will regret it temporarily? Although it doesn't matter if the recommended items don't change, you can use 100,000 points to substitute, and Oreki-san is not short of money now. But Oreki-san felt that his physical ability was different from that of ordinary students, so after participating, he seemed like a bully. That's why he didn't deliberately participate in the project. On the one hand, I don't want to bully others, but on the other hand, I have expectations from Sakayanagi-san. Oreki. Houtarou Oreki. Even so, Oreki-san felt that he still refused. After all, he is different from ordinary people. If he really competes, he will bully others, just like Yuanji. The limit of human beings like Yuanji probably doesn't find it interesting to bully ordinary people. That's really regrettable, Yuzu Sakayanagi said. Then he began to play with the camera he had taken out of the drawer in a rather boring way. The expression of disappointment seemed quite revealing. Oreki. Oreki-san admits that he is not the kind of person who is easily led around. But beep. At this moment, a familiar notification sound that had not been seen for a long time appeared in his mind. Congratulations to the host for triggering the side mission. Task requirement: defeat Nagai Yunya in the 1,200-meter grade-wide relay. Mission deadline: the day of the sports festival. Task penalty: deduction of 100,000 personal points. Task reward: equivalent exchange of special abilities. Oreki-san calmly clicked on the mission reward. Equivalent exchange: the function is to exchange things for objects equally through the values of recent civilizations. The price difference can be within 10%, controllable, and has no defects. It can be used on people, but the default value of the human body is 0, so often the item is exchanged for something of the same value as the target's clothing. System tasks. The system has not sent out tasks for a long time. And the ability of equivalent exchange, if used well, may be quite good. For example, when cooking, if you feel that the dish is not suitable, you can directly replace the ingredients. So this is quite useful. Quite useful. I thought about it for a while, Oreki-san said. It's good to contribute to the class occasionally. I ran pretty fast in junior high school. It was like mumbling to himself, or explaining. So, he got up and went to find Katsuragi-san and his homeroom teacher, Mr. Majima, to change the entry form. The actions of a man in love are truly terrifying. The girl with long purple hair who had been sitting at the back table without moving said, "This is Maesumi Kamuro holding 3 hairpins." As Oreki and Itayagi's dog, she couldn't leave while their 2 owners were still in the classroom. So I sat quietly in the back. However, he also witnessed the interaction between Sakayanagi Yuzu and Oreki Houtarou. As a bystander, she clearly discovered that Oreki Houtarou was clearly unable to withstand Princess Sakayanaga's frustrated attack. And isn't Sakayanagi Yuzu very good at acting cute or coquettish or pretending to be pitiful? Click. However, Sakayanagi Yuzu, who was sitting in front, suddenly turned around and took a photo of Kamuro-san. Do you want to take a picture of me with your camera?" Kamuro-san said. "When you and I went to get the camera, didn't you say you only took pictures of Oreki?" "Yes," Yuzu Sakayanagi said quite cutely. "Because when I took the photo of Kamuro-san, I didn't put the film in the divine room." "Okay. Stop talking." Kamuro-san then kept a straight face. And the other side. Chapter 097 Ryuan's attack, Huey's distress, so why should I fight so hard? Part 1. Today is the 5th, which is the 4th day after the mobilization meeting. All entry forms for each class have also been submitted. 1700 hours is the last modification time. And now it is 1650. Successfully completed the revision within the deadline. Oreki-san failed to withstand the test of Sakayanagi Arisu, and finally chose to go to Mr. Majima with Katsuragi-san to add his name to the 1200-meter all-grade relay event. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 229. On the way back from the office together, Katsuragi-san seemed to be very interested. "That means you're going to run the final event, Oreki-san." Katsuragi has the physical fitness information of all students in Class A, and in the 1200-meter all-grade relay event, one class selects 3 boys and 3 girls. In the boys' information, Oreki-san's running speed meets the standard. So it makes sense for him to be a relay player. The 3 boys who have been submitted at the same time are all from the Itayanaga faction. Regardless of Oreki-san's status in the class or his relationship with Sakayanagi, there will be no problem in replacing any of them. "But it's hard to say which club I will run on," Oreki-san said. "Because." Congratulations to the host for triggering the side mission. Task requirement: defeat Nagai Yunya in the 1200-meter grade-wide relay. Mission deadline: the day of the sports festival. Task penalty: deduction of 100,000 personal points. Task reward: equivalent exchange of special abilities. Remarks: equivalent exchange: the function is to exchange things for objects equally through the values of recent civilizations. The price difference can be within 10%, controllable, and has no defects. It can be used on people, but the default value of the human body is 0, so you will usually be exchanged for something of the same value as the target person's clothes. Look, the requirement of the mission is to defeat Nagamo Yat. And based on Nagamo's character, there is almost no doubt that he will definitely play in the 1200-meter relay. Oreki's mission requires defeating Nagamo. Then we have to see where Neun will go. So now I have to confirm Nagamo's information. Oreki-san used to go back to the club, and mostly competed in sports events, so he had no experience participating in relay races, so he had to consider practicing how to catch the baton and so on. These are all things that need to be confirmed. So, he and Katsuragi-san separated at a fork in the road. What a chance encounter. Oreki-san met Ichino's Hanamai on the way to the football club. But she is alone. Then he held a small notebook and seemed to be taking some notes. Oreki-san approached her from behind, so he could see what she was recording. Probably Class A, Hashimoto, Kamuro Maesumi, Kito Hayabusa and so on. Then there was Syuda from Class C, who was given a heavy number. There is also a record in Class D. A person named Kinoshita was given a star by her. According to the information obtained by Oreki-san, Kinoshita is an official member of Ryuan's class track and field team. Some of the information obtained shows that Kinoshita was also the star of the track and field team when he was in junior high school. So he is considered a pretty good seed player. Then under Kinoshita's name is Rei Ibuki. That was the spy who acted with Ryuan before and was given to Ichino's by Oreki-san. At that time, Ibuki and Ryuan acted like they were at odds, and Ibuki did show some of his combat power. So it's normal to need to pay attention to athletic talent. And these data combined. In other words, she's scouting out seeds from other classes. At the same time, as I got closer to Ichino's, I could smell the very comfortable scent of shower gel. He also uses this kind of shower gel. It is a unisex style, but he really finds it magical for girls. It's a coincidence indeed, Ichino's greeted. She is very smart. He realized that his record keeping had been discovered, so he said directly, but, could it be said that Oreki-san is out to investigate? Is that the same for Ichino's? My training is over, so I want to do something. Oreki actually came to find Nagamo to confirm the other party's relay information. But I can try to trick Ichino's first. And he probably stepped on Ichino's minefield. Boom. She gave a slightly pitiful expression. My physical fitness is not very good, so I can only participate in the required events. Then what we can do now is help the class come out and get some information. Is Ichino's physical condition not good? Indeed. It seems that she is also working very hard. Oreki still knows that Sakura-san from Class C is not good at sports. According to the trash talk sent by Kushida, he is carrying such a big ball and then letting Sakura run fast. Can you please stop using your 37-degree mouth to say such cruel words? In other words, carrying a big ball can affect your movements. However, Kushida said it in a trash-talking tone, so maybe we can guess that Kushida is actually a little envious of Sakura's figure? Obviously hers is pretty good too. It makes people feel excited every time I look at it. Certainly. It cannot be denied that Kushida-san seemed to be selling Sakura-san to him intentionally or unintentionally. Then she can be freed or something. She was obviously quite considerate when she was on the ship and just after returning to school. But in the past 2 days, it has become fierce. Not so free anymore. It's disturbing. Because he had had a precognitive dream, Oreki-san knew very well that Kushida-san's methods were basically useless. After all, after lawyer Horikita left, she came to visit him again and wanted to sleep with him in lawyer Horikita's pajamas. It scared him then. Although Ryuan is relatively secretive, students will also need to participate in school clubs, Ichino said as if complaining. And this further shows that Ryuan wants to do something big for the sports festival. Therefore, students in the class are only allowed to participate in club activities. And this is probably to ensure that his class's competition list is not leaked. Although everyone's list has been submitted, if the list is leaked, they may still be targeted during the game. It's just that Ryuan is probably too worried, because the only people who can do such a thing are probably his own class. Then continue to obtain information, Oreki-san said. I'm going to go to the football club. Football club. Ichino's expression seemed a little troubled. But Oreki knew it. There are 2 outstanding first-year students in the football club, one is Kanzaki Ryaji and the other is Shibata. They are all seed players in Ichino's class. Oreki asked Horikita to arrange the entry form for Class C with Houtarou as the main player, and then arranged for Houtarou to be constantly stuck as a substitute to participate in the mixed male and female three-legged event. This should also have come into the eyes of Class B. So Ichinose has probably gained insight and is preparing to fix this bug. If Houtarou keeps getting the first place, then it wouldn't be an exaggeration for Class B to settle for second place and get the second and third place. The people who can do this are Kanzaki-san in her class and Shibata-san, who is as athletic as hanging on the wall. Result: it was obviously a bug that he deliberately arranged, and then Ichinose and the others discovered it, and now they are worried that he knows about it? Yes, it is. The current class evaluation scores for the 4 classes are as follows. Class A 1801 points. Class B 970 points. Class C 780 points. Class D 440 points. The situation of Class B is actually quite bad. Ryuowen's class fell down, so they had to climb up, and Ichinose's side is too far away from Class A. And because she was assigned to the white group in this red and white grouping, she probably knew that there was a high probability that the white group would eventually lose. So first of all, the minus 100 points white group's losing class evaluation points must be reduced. Therefore, they really have to make some efforts in this competition. Otherwise, if you fall at the bottom of the score competition among the same grade students, it will cause greater psychological pressure. But the slightly nervous look is so cute. Oreki-san felt that he was spoiled too much by the girls today. So he said kindly, "I'm here to find Nagamo-senpai. My relationship with Nagamo-senpai is not very good, and since he is in the football club, I can just go and ask him questions," Oreki said. Nagamo's academic ability can get an A, and his motor skills are also very strong, and he looks like a handsome boy. Horikita's brother is worried that Nagamo wants to implement absolute strength first, and it is easy to understand that Nagamo wants to implement strength first. After all, he belongs to the outstanding group. He is a vested interest. And, now that he has fallen from the position of vice president, in order to maintain his image, he will almost never miss the football club's activities. So today's event will probably come as well. I see Ichinose nodded lightly. He seemed to feel at ease. But does this mean that Oreki-san has decided to participate in the 1,200-meter all-grade relay race? Saying this, Ichinose showed a cute smile, approached gently, and pressed his body slightly forward. This gesture is quite cute. And this gesture is also to collect information. Oh. You are collecting information, and you are also preparing to collect his information. This is not good, Ichinose-san. Also, you actually learned how to use beauty attacks. This is probably copied from Kushida-san's. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 230. Oreki had seen Kushida use this attack on him twice. It seems that Kushida's deliberate effort to gain Ichinose's favor on the island worked. The two have a good relationship and even copied each other's cute moves. It was decided just now, Oreki-san said. But my opponent is Nagamo-senpai, so I have to confirm his rank. Then, the two came to the football club together. It happened that the members were playing football. Ichinose-san. Shibata from Class B, who was playing football on the football field, discovered that the archangel of the class was present. I felt inspired instantly. So he made a pretty good pass. Well. Kanzaki Ryaji was also present, and he discovered that Oreki-san was also present. It can be said. Both Kojinji from Class C and Houtarou Oreki from Class A have strong shadows on him, so he is particularly sensitive. I just didn't expect Shibata to actually perform a little extraordinarily well. And doesn't this kind of performance prove that Shibata is a seated player? So he held his face with his left hand. It seemed a little speechless and helpless. probably because he felt that the information about the seed players in his class was leaked. And Oreki circled around. Then he saw a boy with blonde hair sitting on the bench walking towards him. Yo! Isn't this Oreki? Isn't there also Ichino-senpai? Nanyun's appearance is still very good, wearing the uniform of the football club, he looks quite energetic. And this is Nagamoya, a regular member of the football club and also the deputy director. Initially, he felt that the girls in his class liked to watch boys play football, so he joined the football club. But those bitches think that as long as their faces are good looking, it doesn't matter whether boys play football or not. So he doesn't come to the football club that much. But now that the position of vice president has been taken away, I feel that my halo has been reduced, so I came back. Move back to the image of a sporty handsome guy. As a result, I had good luck today. As soon as I arrived, I met the previously naughty Ichino-senpai. Although he was the schoolgirl who rejected her, it was undeniable that Ichino's was Nagamo's ideal type. In addition, the other party is super beautiful, so he is also tolerant. In fact, I am also worried that if Ichino-senpai is influenced by Oreki Houtarou like Suzune, it will be very bad. Of course, the most worrying thing is why Ichino-senpai and Oreki came together. So, Oreki-san, aren't Suzune and Kushida-san, whom you have always been inseparable from, here, Nagamo said. He took the initiative to greet Oreki-san first. And the girl who was mentioned first? Then he paid attention to Ichino's expression. I need to check if there is anything between Ichino's and Oreki Houtarou, and see if there will be any reaction when I mention the girls around Oreki Houtarou. Very good. No special expression. It seems that Ichino-senpai has not been captured by Oreki Houtarou. Nagamo-senpai is still the same, Oreki-san said. Every time he sees me, he is thinking about the girl next to me, which makes me feel very subtle. Nanyun. Naeun suddenly felt that what he had just done to test Ichino's was wrong. Because Ichino-senpai seemed to take half a step back. She kept her distance from him, probably because she regarded him as a pretty bad person. So, are you coming to the football club today to join the club? Nagaun had to say. I am the deputy minister, so I can still be accommodating. I can let you experience joining the ministry first. Although Nanyun thinks that being handsome in football can attract girls to join him, he is also capable in his own right. So even if Oreki's physical fitness is good, he can't directly play well. So, let's pull back around now. Not to mention letting Ichino-san see Oreki-san's embarrassed look, just seeing the unfamiliar look is considered a victory. But I'm not very interested in a sweaty sport like football because I have to wash clothes many times a day, Oreki said. Nanyun. And Nagamo noticed that when Oreki-san said this, Ichino-senpai took half a step back. It was as if Nagamo was sweating now. Hey, he didn't play just now, so he hasn't sweated yet, Ichino-senpai, don't be like this. Nanyun felt hurt. But then what are you doing? Nanyun said. Could it be that he was scouting the seeded players of other classes' sports festivals? It should be said that Nagamo-senpai is still Nagamo-senpai, and his insight is still good. At the same time, this separation is also done well. Nagamo is in the football club, so he understands that among the first-year students, the outstanding students are the students from Class B, and Ichino's is also from Class B. Therefore, it can draw Ichino's attention to Oreki-san's behavior. But it's a pity that Oreki-san has been coquettishly succeeded by Ichino's just now, so he informed the other party of his purpose. Also, Nagamo was disappointed to find that Ichino-senpai did not show a wary expression towards Oreki. Maybe I'm going to declare a challenge, Oreki-san said. If I'm not mistaken, Nagamo-senpai probably also participated in the 1,200-meter all-grade relay race. I want to know which leg you finished. Nanyun. The last one. By the way, are you planning to be the last one? Absolutely, Oreki-san nodded. Being expected by someone who doesn't take rejection well. Oh. So which girl was it? Is it Kushida Angel or Suzune? Or is it another beautiful girl from the first grade? It's quite interesting, Nanyun said. I will accept this challenge, but I will not lose easily. Before he came to Yasheng High School, he had the habit of running in the morning every day. Then I stopped when I got to this school. But now it's decided, I can't lose even if I die. I always feel like you are irritating Nagamo-senpai, Oreki-san. After leaving the football club, Oreki-san discovered that Ichino's had not left. Instead, he continued to follow. But she also provided some information. That is, she knows Neun. She is a first-year student, but she knows Neun. There is a high probability that Neun took the initiative to contact her. And the reason? Oreki-san paid attention to Ichino's. She has pretty long pink hair, delicate facial features, and a pretty good figure. And a gentle, full sense of justice, lively character. Like an archangel. Indeed. No man can refuse such an archangel. Maybe there were some conflicts, Oreki-san said. Nagamo-senpai's goal is the student council president, and my goal is also the student council president. So it's normal to have some hostility. Oh. By the way, is your target actually the student council president? Ichino's-kun, Oreki noticed that the archangel beside him seemed to have suddenly become depressed. Nothing. She just felt defeated. Because he submitted an application to join the student council but was rejected by President Horikita, it turned out that Oreki-san's idea was to be the student council president. Let her understand, it's really a long way from Class A. Although Ichino-san seems to be in a low mood, Oreki-san is no longer paying attention. Because he received a message. There is something wrong with your Horikita by Kushida Kikyo. Forward. What is his Horikita? But on one side is Horikita-san, who may become a lawyer Horikita in the future, and on the other side is just Archangel Ichino's. Oreki-san thought about it and chose attorney Horikita. The area of Class C, first grade. There are quite a lot of people training on the playground. And judging from the members, it seems that they are the sports scumbags who were sacrificed as cannon fodder instead of implementing the TNG horse racing strategy proposed by Horikita-san at the beginning. And these students train quite hard. After all, let people like Pseudo and others who are good at sports do the scoring. Let Pseudo catch the two-person three-legged bug.